think it's a viable move where you take De Bruyne out and you get Salah in.
I think one of our last streams ended. I think we are live again on the same link. So if you haven't like seen us, we're live on the same link. If you guys can hear us and see us, I think you will be able to hear us and see us better now. But yeah, I can hear you clearly, Z. So I think people will be able to. I'll
Yeah,
edit
yeah.
that, and that shouldn't be a problem. If you can repost the link, I think we should be okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just put out the same link so people can join us again.
Yep. Don't worry, guys. We're grinding a lot of. We're putting in efforts to grind out content for you guys. So rejoin us if you had like previously been on the channel. Join us now again. Follow this link, and you will be taken to the correct stream. I think yeah, we're good in that terms. I think I can see YouTube now. I can see we are streaming well.
Yep.
I think we're doing good.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I've put out the link to our new stream. I imagine a lot of people are still on the old stream and they must be wondering what
No, no.
happened.
I think we've ended the old stream, so that wouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
We are we are pretty much live on this one. Yep. I think we good to go. We are there. People are joining. I think people will continue to join. Just reshare the
Great,
link. I
great,
think that should be okay. Yeah.
great. So yeah, I mean, just to summarize what we spoke about on the previous link is not much. We were discussing Martinelli, and I think for both of us, Martinelli is a sell at this point. Maybe not for a hit, but if you've still got him, and there are enough red flags, and you know, from a situation where uh, his minutes were a concern, I think that's about to go worse. So that's what we've discussed so far. The next talking point before we move on to the Q&A is about De Bruyne versus Salah, the two heavyweights among the midfielders. De Bruyne actually did well last week, but Salah has a double game week coming up. So where do you stand on this, Anshuman? Do you think it's viable to
Not.
take KTB out for Salah at this point, or maybe just hold on till 25?
I would say hold on. So the caveat obviously is that you Salah plays Newcastle, so this week is going to be tough for him to manage something out that in that game. But again, if you have news, if there's somehow there's a leak, which I don't think there will be for City this game week, but in case there is a leak and it says that De Bruyne or Mahrez is out, I wouldn't shy away from going to Salah earlier than usual. So I wouldn't say he's not in my plans, but again, not as a priority transfer.
Yep, I think I'll sort of agree with that. Even as a KDB owner, and obviously we spoke a lot about KDB. We both thought that he could do well last game week, and that did in fact happen. Did really well against Arsenal. So if you've still got him, it's a good position to be in, and I think he gets another start in game week 24. So you hold on, and purely I think the only reason why I would take him out for Salah in 25 is because Salah has a double game week, and it's just two fixtures versus one, right? Classic FPL. Otherwise, I think De Bruyne otherwise is a very good hold, regardless. So yeah, I think that is my thought. Apart from De Bruyne, like any other City player that sort of has your attention right now, would you bring in any other City player that is not called Khalid or De Bruyne right now?
So even with Mahrez, that's the situation. This game you can't even go and target Mahrez because the fact that he could be benched and he's prime. So he's prime is a prime UCL player. We everyone knows that, and he will play the UCL game against Leipzig next week. So I don't know. I'm not comfortable getting Mahrez. I think the train has been missed. In my opinion, I think there's no chance this game week you go for him. Again, I have the same situation. So I have two free transfers. I can remove a certain De Bruyne to a Mahrez or a Foden this game week for a punt or maybe Gundogan, but neither of them make me comfortable. I think it's better to just save and pray that either De Bruyne plays the game, starts the game, or gets some returns out of the game, or doesn't come on at all, so that Andreas comes in as a sub. Because I don't think I personally have the guts to bench De Bruyne versus Nottingham Forest and play Andreas over him.
That's true, and and even if let's say De Bruyne is getting 30 minutes, versus NFO, I think it still could be good enough because you expect NFO to sort of park the bus, do a lot of off the ball defending, right? And tired legs, De Bruyne, there's a lot of space for him to play his through balls, put in the crosses, maybe a long shot here and there. It could, but I am pretty certain that De Bruyne will start against NFO regardless. I think it's an important, especially considering the nature of the title race right now, because City are suddenly on the top. Obviously, they've played a game extra, so that's I think an even bigger factor that Pep will have on his mind, that let's try and get that lead, put more pressure on Arsenal. So I think that means that Pep plays his strongest 11 going forward, and I think City are looking really a lot better than they were as a unit because Akanji is not playing anymore. Diaz is back in the side, and we've seen sort of that has impacted City positively. We saw that in the previous game as well and against Arsenal. They look a lot more secure as a unit, not just defensively, but even in the build-up, even going forward when there's a defender out there who can lead the team. And obviously that's something that Akanji cannot offer. So I think these are good points for City. If you still have City players right now. But I agree with you in the sense that if you don't have a City player right now, probably not the right time to bring in because obviously there are other teams who are like Liverpool who are going to double in 25. Another team, Anshuman, that they're not going to double in 25, but people are talking about them. And the team I'm talking about is Chelsea. Do you think Chelsea are worth any sort of investment right now?
I think one player stands out, and one player is probably worth it. I think Felix. He is on certain set pieces. He, at least for direct free, he's there, and he's there for certain other set pieces as well. He's shown that he's attracting the chances. He's hitting the post. He's making the runs. I think he has shown all signs of a big haul. It could be a player who just accumulate the chances and not finishes it, or maybe it's just a Chelsea thing at this point, or a Potter curse. But at this point, if there's any Chelsea player you want to look at, is only Felix. Reece James would have been an asset, but again, he's ruled out due to hamstring injury at the moment. Again, he's in the same injury cycle. Stay away from him. I was considering him because he plays at 25 and 28. Essentially, was looking very good. But again, I don't think anyone else is worth even considering at this point in the game.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. So I see a lot of Reece James shouts on Twitter in a lot of FPL circles, but I think that's the problem with Reece James, right? His fitness is a concern. Even when he was back the other day, I think he started the game, uh, and I think Chelsea kept a clean sheet in that game, but he was hooked off before 60. So there's always that danger that if he's starting and Chelsea are actually keeping clean sheets, he might not even get that 6 pointer. He'll be hooked off before 60 because obviously Potter looks at him as a key player and he's trying to manage his minutes. So it comes with a lot of I think flags that you cannot ignore. So you spoke about Felix. There's another Chelsea attacker, and I think you spoke about him a couple of weeks back. And he's the one who was practicing penalties and just putting all of them away. Kai Havertz. He's getting starts after starts. He seems to be getting more chances than Felix right now, even though he may not be as clinical. What do you think about him? Do you think he's a fair shout instead of Joao Felix?
So I'm an avid owner of Havertz, and I'm making the move sideways move using a free transfer at this stage of the game. I think that should explain. Despite transfers being really precious at this point, when you know that the blanks are coming up, the doubles are coming up, and you want to use them there, I think I'm still making the sideways move this game week. The penalties is a factor. I think Havertz will still take the penalties. It's a huge factor, and Havertz is also getting chances. So, not I and he could score against Southampton. Southampton have that weakness of conceding through set pieces and headers. Havertz is absolutely good at that, but it's just the overall play of Felix. He's more involved. He's either creating or at the end of the chance. He's also on set pieces. So as a player, you want that, and I think Felix will deliver more points throughout the duration. I want him till 28 or even beyond, wherein Havertz could deliver this game week, but again, still continues 2 point streak going ahead. So personally, it's only between Havertz and Felix. Again, it's Felix and nobody else.
Yeah, I think I do. Felix is, I think, sort of more secure. I think he'll be more consistent in the long run. But Havertz does feel like that one punt that can. He probably has a higher ceiling, I would say, in the short run. So yeah, so we'll move on. We have a couple of things lined up as well. Before
Yeah,
that, I see a lot of questions about captaincy and benching. So hold on to them, guys. We'll start the Q&A in a bit. Before that, we'll just address a couple more things. So one of
yeah.
them is obviously
Before that as well,
yeah. Yeah,
I mean, we didn't touch upon this in the City conversation a lot, and then I think we should even cover it. But before that as well, we have about 35 people watching. Please hit the like button so that we know we're going good, everything is fine. It just lets us know that the audio video is also good, and we can continue the Q&A. We do the Q&A. We have a complete 35-40 minute Q&A session. We know that there's a lot of benching headache. It's there in my team and Z's team as well. So don't worry, guys. We've got you covered. But let us know through likes that everything is fine. You watch, you can clearly see and watch us. Okay,
indeed.
so one important point that I had in terms of City, which is a question we didn't address as much as I did want to, is what do you think about the defense? So you're a City fan. One, who do you see lining up this game week? So that's a question upfront. And if you have someone like an Ake, Akanji, or let's say a Walker, in all three scenarios, would you keep or sell?
Yeah, I think that's a very tricky question as always because it's a city related question, especially a city defense question. So I was watching a Pep Guardiola presser recently earlier today, and he was very specific about picking his defenders based on the opponents. So he mentioned where he feels that they need something more in build up, he will play Laporte. And if he needs a bit more solidarity, he'll probably go for an Ake. So I think my understanding here is that Ake will start most of the games, but if and when he probably needs something more in the build-up against a team like NFO or a team that is not interested in attacking at all, he might go to Laporte. So I think we are looking at a situation where Manchester City defense is a firm no at this point. From an FPL perspective, I do expect their clean sheet numbers to improve after the return of Diaz. But again, uh, we could be in situations where let's say you pick Diaz and he starts the game, City are 2 or 3 up, he'll get hooked off at halftime because Pep will look to protect him because he's had his season so far has been a bit problematic in terms of injuries. He was playing the World Cup uh, with through injury. So I think that's something that you have to keep an eye on. Now, if you have Nathan Ake already, I think he's a decent hold because I think he will start, let's say, 4 out of 6 games, which I think is decent, especially at his price. And so, yeah, I think Ake is a fine hold. But if you don't have him already, don't bring him in, and that applies to any other City defender. It's yeah, I think you should avoid if you are considering a punt at all, it has to be on a City attacker. So that's I think where I stand, and especially when Pep is coming out and explicitly saying that there is a logic behind him picking certain defenders for certain games. So yeah, I think you have to stay away from City defenders.
But again, just quickly for our viewers, if you have Akanji, play him, sell him, or just keep him on the
Uh,
bench.
yeah, I think you should sell Akanji because maybe he starts this game, but then again, next game week
But
you'll be
again, this is
complaining
very
that
specific. I'm talking very game week specific. So let's just talk
yeah,
about game week 24 with the
yeah.
deadline approaching. Gaming 24, would you sell Akanji or play him or bench him?
I think so. Again, it depends on what kind of fire. So if you've got someone like a Martinelli, right, and you've got a free transfer, I think you should address it to him. So if the rest of your team is fine, and if you got a Kanji, I think he's an easy sell. You could probably get in, an Everton defender with a double game week, or at a similar price, maybe someone like a Matip could be worth a shot because he has another double game week coming up in 25. So I think there's a lot of upside to
That's
offer.
some
And
statement about Matip and Tarkowski. So Tarkowski I like because he has a fixture. It's just the fixture guarantee and the goal threat. I don't like him for the clean sheet prospect as of now. Everton have improved, but not massively. Sean Dyche will still take time to improve that side. So that's the thing. I like him for the goal threat essentially, but I wouldn't sell Akanji. So I really differ. If I had Akanji, I wouldn't sell him this week at least.
but
I think he starts this one.
against. So that's the thing. So I think the logic behind Akanji playing so many games recently was because Walker was not playing. And if you've noticed, if you notice Akanji playing, he's rapid. He's very quick for a center half. So he was relying on Akanji for his recovery pace because Walker was not playing in a lot of those games. So my logic is now that Walker is back in favor, Akanji might not start as many games. And uh, he's playing a three these days, right? Guardiola is playing a three. So if he's picking a Walker, there's Diaz at CCB right in the center, and on at LCB you've got an Ake or a Laporte. So I don't know how Akanji fits into it. Maybe he starts some games instead of Walker, and at times Diaz is getting hooked off and Akanji plays instead of him at CCB. Now that the title challenge is on the line, I think Akanji's minutes might be curtailed. He did get a lot of games because the key defenders were out with injuries, but I'm not so sure about his game time anymore going forward. that's my take personally. Obviously, we don't know what Pep is thinking and what he comes up with on a particular day. But I see logic in getting rid of him and probably betting on another City player if you wish to go there.
Okay. Same with
Yeah.
Ake, I think. Same with Ake. Or you see Ake playing more minutes?
I think Aki is more secure, and I think the fact that he was preferred in a big game like Arsenal is so. What I'm looking at is the Arsenal game being a potential, probably City's most important game of the season, and he went with his trusted 11 in that particular game. He looks at them as, okay, these are the 11 guys I can trust. So that is an important. I think in games where he decides to drop Mahrez and play Bernardo Silva in that right wing position, like we saw in the second half uh, versus Arsenal. In those cases, it goes to a back four, and then Akanji could play RCB because Diaz is then playing left center half. So that's again a lot of key weights. But I think Ake is a bit more secure than Akanji right now. That is my thinking.
So we have some rumor news. So before we even jump in further, that apparently Martinelli is benched and Trossard is starting this one. So it could be absolutely a baseless rumor, and Martinelli could still start. But I wouldn't be surprised if this happens again. So prioritize your move of selling Martinelli. I think you should by now, if you have Martinelli, it should be a priority move and a sell. Okay, moving ahead, we discussed Arsenal, Chelsea, and City, Liverpool. I think for now only Salah interests me. I don't think anyone else is really hot pick and hot topic this game week, especially with most players playing. Okay, so
Yeah,
we'll address the Q&A and the chat then. I think unless you have something to add about Liverpool.
yeah. I think that was the last thing. So one of the two things was City that you already covered, and the other thing that we think we should cover is the Liverpool assets. So obviously Salah sort of picks himself. Uh, what are your thoughts? Should we go with two or three, or are you of the mindset that yes, probably Salah on his own is enough? A lot of people talk about Darwin Núñez. Personally, I am not very keen because I think he is a minutes concern because Jota is back, Diaz could be back, Firmino is back as well. So it's essentially two players if you take Salah out because obviously he will start all the games. It's five players that are competing for two spots. So I'm not that keen. What is your thinking? What is the optimal Liverpool count that we should go? Should we go for one, two, three? What's your take?
I think at least Salah, so that's a given for me. I think Salah is a mandatory there, and maybe stretch it to two depending on how many minutes Firmino and Jota. I would still not look at Trent unless he's like putting up a good performance against Newcastle, which I think he will because and we will be talking this on the next game week pod because when you look at the chances conceded for Crystal and Wolves both, they've conceded the most chances down their left flank, and Trent has been playing much on the higher side of the pitch rather than the right centre backs role which he was playing in between. So it could be a massive difference, and we might be into Trent next game week. But as of now, just focus on Salah, I think, and then you take it game week by game week. At least by like observe this game week and then you figure out next week.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. And I've got just one Liverpool player right now, and that happens to be Trent. Um, a lot of people have spoken to me about Nunes, but I'm not very sure. So I've got Trent. I'll probably keep him because of the double game week. And the other move is obviously Salah because Salah picks himself. He could be a potential captaincy shot, but this is something that we will cover in next game week spot. Right now, let's move on to Q&A. A lot of questions are out here
Yeah.
waiting for us. Let's start, Anshuman.
Yeah, I think we should address with the big question with the start, and let's address it first. Backline benching headache. A lot of us have. Let's say we take all the five big names that we have. Six names we are popping up. We have Trippier. We have White, Shaw, a City defender. Let's say Ake or Akanji. We have Tarkowski and Bueno in the mix, and you have to play three of them. What is your preference?
Uh, I think obviously you bench Bueno because of the obvious reasons. I think he warrants a benching, right?
But do you
Others
expect he
probably
starts?
no. I'm saying you should bench him if you got Bueno. You bench him, maybe even a Trippier. So I think these are the two. So I'll probably play obviously the City defender that you've got. If you still got an RK or maybe even an Akanji, I think just play him this week. Shaw, I'll play him as well because Leicester are pretty rubbish. I'm not sure about their clean sheet prospect, but he could rack up some attacking returns, and he's got that link up with Rashford. And I regret benching him last week because he got that assist and suddenly he was on 12 points. And maybe I think I'll start White as well. Tomiyasu started the last one, had a terrible game, so I think White is sort of nailed for the foreseeable future. So those three would be my. I'm just playing the fixtures here, right, with these three defenders. I think their fixtures are better than Trippier, so that's the reason why I'd probably bench Trippier and Bueno from Wolves.
I strongly disagree because what I'm thinking is White starts. So it's a call between White playing Villa away from home and Trippier at home for Liverpool. The Trippier does have more goal threat in general, and Newcastle are more sturdy in terms of defense at home. I think Shaw makes his plays irrespectively in all of our lineups. I think he plays Leicester at home. You got to play him. So Shaw I think is necessary. If you have the City defender, you have to take the chance. This is probably the week Ake Akanji and probably Laporte start together because Diaz will be rested for the Champions League. Walker will be rested for the Champions League. Probably Rico Lewis will play into a inverted left back role. So this is probably the opportunity where you have to play them. Third, I think it's still Trippier for me. I would bench White over Trippier only because the fact that Trippier has so many set pieces and he's so lethal to that Newcastle attack. And in general, Newcastle can defend and put off Liverpool. I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool end up in a 0-0, if not a loss.
Wow.
And that is why I take a chance there.
You know what
And
I'm
Aston Villa
expecting?
have good numbers.
Yeah, I'm expecting Liverpool to thrash Newcastle. This might come back to bite me, but I'm totally because Newcastle have not been doing great, especially since Bruno has been out with the injury, and Liverpool are getting back into that rhythm. So that is my reason. I think Liverpool will. I'm backing them to score, and it could get bad. And yes, Trippier has been a bonus magnet. He's been doing really well. I think he's gone very few weeks without any sort of return, but that is sort of changing. And if I'm correct, like in the recent past, they were keeping a lot of clean sheets despite not so good XG conceded numbers. So I think that variance is going to come into play, and we might see Newcastle go on this run where they end up conceding goals here and there. So that is how I am liking, but I don't disagree with the logic there, especially with White. Even though I think Arsenal keep a clean sheet, there's not a lot of upside with the way he plays. It just does not offer a lot of threat, unlike someone like a Gabriel, who probably has a goal or an attacking return on him from set pieces. So yeah, I think I agree. A lot of questions about Martinelli as well. Would you bench or sell Martinelli? And if yes, whom would you sell him for? And if you're not selling,
Sell.
would
I
you just
think
bench him?
we've discussed sell or for Odegaard, and let's just quickly do this. I think we're cutting short on time as well. If we had this question earlier for someone as well, if you had Almiron and sell him for someone, what are your options? I think, in my opinion, I think personally three or four options on top of my head. Odegaard, if you don't have him. Saka, if you don't have him. If you have all of this, I wouldn't go for a Brighton or a City asset this game week. So hold that move. Bench Almiron in that case, and the only outside option in my opinion is Barnes slash Madison. Depending on the stats, I think Barnes has better stats as far as I've researched. Barnes has way better stats. Madison obviously is the talismanic player who is just on a streak of scoring points when he is. So that could be your option there. But we had an interesting question. If you had White and Martinelli both, would you play White or and bench Martinelli or start Martinelli?
Wow, that's a tough one. I always say play or attacker, but if you're getting news that he could be on the bench, I think I
Yeah, he
might be
could be on the
tempted to
bench.
go with yeah, I might be tempted to just play the one who's probably more nailed on to start. That is White, but it's a very tricky one because I
Yeah,
remember this used to happen with ESR last year. He used to be on the bench. He would come on, play 20 minutes, and score a goal and get a bonus or two as well. So it's a very tricky one, but I'll still play White. I think yeah.
okay, so you're on the White. Okay, so fair enough. I rely on the White idea as
Yeah.
well. I think
I see a couple of questions about Haaland being benched, and we are not sure where the rumors are coming from. I think it's just pure speculation, nothing
pure
concrete.
speculation. I don't think he'll
Yeah,
get benched personally.
yeah,
So we'll address captaincy since we're talking about Haaland. I think if you ought to captain him, and I don't think you should be. Although there is a case, so there is a case where he's blanked in his last six away games, where he's only scored certain goals in his last away 8 games. Do you buy them? Do you buy that situation, or do you like he's Haaland? Like, let's talk
exactly.
for real. He's Haaland, and he's the best striker in the team. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you just captain him. There's absolutely no need to overthink, especially when his effective ownership is so high. I remember the discussion before that Wolves game, right, where people were like, "Oh, okay, maybe we don't really have to captain Haaland every week." And I do recollect some people went against him and they captained someone else. and Haaland scored a hat trick in that game. And so I
This was
don't.
the game. This was Nottingham Forest when people captained Madison and Salah, and I
And
captained
yeah, that
Madison as
is
well.
exactly, that is another one. So I think it's just not worth the risk. It's very simple. Who's the most attacking team in the league? It's Man City, regardless of the opposition. They create the most
So,
chances. Who's their chief goal scorer? It's actually Haaland.
and
Yeah,
all for all the stats of the last six away games, their last six away games have been Arsenal, Spurs, United, Chelsea, and then Leeds. In all of these games, apart from the top five, obviously the big six games, he scored against Leeds. His next away game was Leicester. He did not play in that match. And before that, again, he played Liverpool where he scored 2 points again, a big match. He had Wolves and Villa, he scored in both of them. So I think it's a pattern where he is not doing well against the big teams, which is true. And I agree to that. But against the smaller side, I don't think this stands a chance. So I think Captain Haaland, but select a vice captain carefully. And that is an interesting question as well, if we could quickly touch upon that, because Rashford comes as an option. Mahrez and Saka also pose as an option. But again, the caveat with Rashford is he's just played the Europa, 90 minutes there. We have the second leg on Wednesday. He plays on a Sunday, so it's a Sunday Wednesday turnaround. Do you see him starting, or Eric Ten Hag might take it as the easy game and bench him?
I think Rashford starts purely because, with all due respect to all the other Manchester United attackers, I think he's their only sort of star forward who can actually score goals. I think you take Rashford out of that lineup, and they're pretty much toothless. And ETS realizes that. He realizes how crucial Rashford is. So I think he starts, plays the 60, 70 minutes, scores, and I am very sure he'll get some sort of attacking rate. He's just playing like a man possessed right now. So yeah, I expect him to start do well, but I still don't think he's worth going against Haaland, because I told someone the other day that with
Yeah.
Haaland captaincy, you at least get a window of potentially between anything between 6 to 13 points. He's somehow going to score once, may or may not get bonus points. As soon as he scores the second one, he's up to 13 points. It's game over. Even if your Rashford has scored a goal, he'll get 8, 9. Maybe they keep a clean sheet, Shaw gets 3 bonus. With Haaland, it's not worth it. I keep telling people, like, now is not. I'm sure we have game weeks where we could bet against him, but now is not the time. I think you should firmly stay on Haaland captaincy, regardless of who you're considering. I also see some other questions about captaincy.
Just
Anshuman.
one more second,
Yeah.
just to add, I personally think, and I'm taking a big say here, I think Rashford could be benched this game week. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Rashford is
Wow.
benched. That being said, I wouldn't say bench him. I wouldn't at all say bench him, because he is certainly a player who would come on. Even against Wolves, we saw he came on, he scored, and I expect him to get points out of this game. But do I see him starting necessarily? Maybe not, because I think he might Eric Ten Hag might prioritize the Barca game. He might get him on after 60 or 45 minutes, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's benched. That's all I
I
want
think
to
I
add.
think that that's a fair assessment. It's just like I said. I think all their other attackers are just below par. So that is my thinking. But let's see, and I won't be surprised if that happens. To be honest, on the lines of captaincy, we have a couple of interesting shouts. Questions about captaincy. The Somnath Ghosh was asking: Is Sterling a valid captaincy option this game week? Would you
So I have a
think
predicted
so?
11, which is most likely the 11. I'll just read it out to you. It's just a predicted 11 from the forums. So Kepa, Aspilicueta, Koulibaly, Badiashile, Chilwell, Fernandez, Zakaria, Felix, Mudrik, Fofana, and Madueke. So I don't see Sterling starting, and that should answer the question.
Yeah, I think even in terms of holding him, like I don't know why he should not even own Sterling or any Chelsea attacker not named Felix or Havertz. I think right now, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just those
And
two.
Havertz could be benched this game week again. Not even Havertz. I'm personally moving off Havertz.
Okay, so just Felix. You think that's
Yeah,
that's
just
your
Felix. Yeah, just Felix.
yeah. Uh, a lot more questions about Felix. So Watson has sort of posted his team, and he's got 2 free transfers, and he's asking should he get Felix for Mitrovic?
Now,
Who do
this
you
is a
think it
very
will be?
popular question in the chat. I think with Mitrovic, you get a nailed on for 25, but I think if you have no other fires to put out in your team, personally, I might make the move. Given the fact that Mitrovic is a doubt, I would make the move. The rest is up to you. But keep in mind that you have enough funds to do Bruno to probably a Salah. If Mitro to Felix is stopping you from Bruno to Salah directly, maybe just hold the move off. Otherwise, I think it's a good move to do this week. I wouldn't shy off.
Yeah, I think I agree. Some questions about
Also, Tony versus Felix as well.
yeah,
I
yes.
think Felix stands out, yeah, because Tony blanks next game week. I don't think
True.
it's a. If you have Tony, I wouldn't make the sideway move. But if you don't have Tony, if you had to buy someone, I would buy Felix, not Tony. If you have Tony, hold because he doubles eventually.
Yeah, true. Some questions about City players. So Rushil Joshi is asking, do you see Ake starting? There's also similar questions about Mahrez. Uh, what do you
I
th-
think
I think
this you will
Ake.
answer better.
Yeah, I think Ake should start, and I'm expecting. Like I said, my logic right now is very simple. City are in a title race. The players look sharp right now, so I think Pep will keep going with his first 11 every now and then. So I think Ake, yes, he could start. Same with Mahrez. He was hooked off a bit early the other day, but I don't think that's a red flag. It was just purely tactical because Pep was looking to throw in more bodies in terms of pressing, and Mahrez are not very good at pressing. NFO is a different game where they would be sitting a lot more deeper. So I think Mahrez would be needed in that game. So I think Ake and Mahrez should be safe for another start versus NFO this week. So yeah, uh, benching question, Anshuman. Who would you
So
bench
you think
between
Mahrez will
KDB?
start? Just wait. That would mean huge to me. As a City fan, do you think Mahrez will start? Should I take your word and get in Mahrez this game week?
Not get him in, but if you own him, I back him to start for sure.
Okay, okay. I mean, if you have anyone, just start your City players. You can't bench
Yeah,
them in this fixture. This
yeah.
is your lottery fixture.
It's NFO, yeah. It's literally
It's
NFO.
just
Like
you got to
we're
start
not
them.
playing them versus NFO. But this was actually related to the next question as well because we have a question about who would you bench between KDB, Odegaard, and Ketia. And that's
You
would you
bench
bench
someone
any of
else.
these three
You
players?
bench someone else. I think you bench someone
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
Start someone else.
yeah.
So you might have a defender or a forward, Mitrovic. Maybe Mitrovic could go out, Andreas, or maybe the fourth defender you have. I think someone there. I think Zile has been putting up this question a lot. Let's just answer it. White or Andreas to start? Uh, Personally, I think Andreas. I think go for the upside with Andreas. I think Brighton are an equally good open team who concede chances. Fulham are very good away from home. This is something I've noticed. At home, they're more conservative in terms of the approach the game in terms of attack. Whereas away from home, they're more open and they're more attacking. So if you have Mitrovic, if you have Andreas, and you can play them in slots such as White or in general, play them. I think this game week not owning Mitrovic is really dreadful to me. I'm hoping that Kevin De Bruyne does not play a single minute and comes off, and Andreas comes in into my team. But I think this game week you play your Fulham players.
Yeah, I think it sort of bodes well for them because when they are away from home and the team that they're playing against, they look at Fulham as a fixture that they can target. So they have a go and they leave behind a lot of space, and Fulham thrives when they're playing that role. Also, an interesting point about Andreas, I don't know how fit Mitrovic is. So just in case, I think he will start. Just in case he does not start, Andreas could be on penalties as well. And I think he's taken penalties in the absence of Mitrovic in the past, right? So that is another factor. So there could be potential upside if you're going for Andreas. So yeah, I think you can play him.
Yeah, I think that is there, and some other questions were as well. Grealish and Foden, I expect Foden to start personally because I think Grealish will be rested. He's been playing a lot of minutes recently. I think he'll.
Yeah,
This is the moment where you rest him before the Champions League game.
yeah.
I think Izzy has the same. We had a discussion. He has the same thought on it as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Z.
Foden left wing, Mahrez right wing, Haaland through the middle. Yeah.
Between White, Andreas, and Trippier, who would you bench again? White.
Wow. I'll go for Trippier. I think we had this discussion earlier as well. I think it's
Same.
very
So
close.
you think that
Yeah.
Trippier is a probably points. I don't disagree with it because it is also an opportunity. It's basically an opportunity cost where you can bench Trippier, and if you in especially for a forward or a midfielder, the so Andreas can easily score six, and then he can outscore Trippier. I wouldn't be surprised. And you're taking a good gamble because if Liverpool score one and Trippier doesn't get a return, you're actually gaining a lot of points.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's
Okay,
true.
just
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah, I think
okay. So
more
as
team
of now,
questions. Yeah, we've
we have
answered
a
more
lot of team questions
questions
as well.
correct. Yeah, yeah. Then let's take
I
the
was
team
just opening my phone.
question.
Yeah, yeah, team questions. I don't think I can share the team sheet with you, with our teams with the audience. But let read out your team, and then I'll read out my team as well as I make my transfers.
Yeah. So yeah, you're going with your
Yeah.
team first, Anshuman.
Okay. No, no.
Who?
Read out your team. I'm making the changes to my team. So okay, I can go ahead.
Wait.
So I have Kepa in goal. I'm
Yeah.
starting Trippier, Shaw, Akanji. I'm benching White. My midfield is Saka, Rashford, De Bruyne, and Fernandes. Andreas first bench. Nketiah, Haaland, and I'm bringing in Joao Felix for Havertz as a free transfer. Also, there is rumors that Martinelli is starting up top with Trossard on the left and Nketiah bench. I don't know which rumors to believe. So I have posted on Instagram that Martinelli could be benched, but I just don't know. At this point, I'm just He's just tickering between something, and now the Arsenal game is too big to gamble around.
But I think that would obviously speculation. But I think that will be very weird for Arteta to keep playing Trossard on the left wing for Martinelli, and then suddenly throwing Martinelli, up front. So yeah, I'm not really
But maybe
sure.
he trusts Martinelli more.
But then he's been giving Nketiah 90 minutes so far in each and every game. So,
Yeah,
but it
fair
could
enough.
just be a case of rotation as well. So I think it's just a
But
very
there's no need
muddy.
to rotate, especially when you have the title on the line because you've lost points
Yeah,
recently.
yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
to rotate for, I think.
Yeah, it's a very muddy situation to be honest. Not optimal, especially before we have another double game week coming up for us. But it is what it is. Your captaincy will stay on Haaland, I am assuming, or you're planning
Haaland.
to.
Vice
Haaland.
captain, I think Saka. Captaincy Haaland. I'm not vice captaining Rashford, as I said. I think he might be benched. I don't want to take a chance. So Haaland and vice captain Saka. Yeah, I think that's a good. Actually, I might just even take the point and vice captain Jao Felix. Yeah, let's
Wow.
go with it.
All about the Felix train. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting moves, and you're putting like you obviously recommend Felix, and you're bringing him in your
yeah.
team as well.
But
So
that's vice captain, not captaincy, guys. Don't get just too excited. I expect Haaland to play at least certain minutes, and I'm betting on that.
yeah, that's Anshuman's team. In terms of my team, it's the exact same as last week, just one change. I will be playing Luke Shaw instead of Trippier. So my starting 11 is David De Gea. I've got Luke Shaw, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm playing Gabriel as well. I'm playing a midfield five of Odegaard, Solly March, De Bruyne, Rashford, and Mahrez, and a front two of Nketiah and Haaland. I've got Trippier on the bench because like that's my thinking. Let's see how it goes. And yeah, captaincy is on Haaland. I expect him to start get at least maybe one or two returns. Anything more is a bonus. And
Maybe one, at
his,
least one, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, his effective ownership is so high that it actually doesn't really matter to a great deal. So yeah, keeping it simple, expecting the rest of the team to maybe get me some green arrows. That's our team. And let's take some more questions, Anshuman.
Yeah, Aditya, I answered your question. I think bench Nonto over Andreas. I would hands down play Andreas as I've discussed. Andreas is, I think it's Fulham have the potential to go big this game week. Uh, who's my captain? My captain is Haaland. So my captain is Haaland. My vice captain is Felix at the moment. I might even my vice captain doesn't matter. I expect Haaland to fully start and play some minutes.
Yeah. Are
Start
we getting?
Tarkowski for who?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you're saying something.
yeah. We're getting some questions about whether you should bench Bueno or White. I think you start White in this case.
Yeah, you start
What
right.
do
I
you
think
think?
the problem with Bueno is he has a good fixture. Bournemouth do attack, but I don't know if Bueno starts. Despite his performance,
Yeah,
he could still be benched and come out for a one pointer. I don't think you should take the risk. We know that
yeah.
White will 90% start, and it's the best case scenario when White could come off at 65. You can bank the clean sheet and then they can lead. So I think start White hands down.
Who do you start? Mitoma or Odegaard?
Mitoma or Odegaard. This is a
I
very
think I
tough
play
one.
both honestly because it's a good fixture. I don't
No,
know if
but
you're.
people have five midfield. So the problem is in this question, I've seen this on Instagram as well. People have a five midfield. So it's like Bruno, De Bruyne, Rashford, Odegaard, and Mitoma. Who do you bench? And up top, Nketiah, someone like Haaland or Mitrovic, let's assume. In this
And
situation, if you have Mitrovic, then Mitrovic bench and then play Mitoma. But otherwise, I think if you don't have Mitrovic, you have someone like a Felix. Between Odegaard and Mitoma, I don't know. I genuinely, it's a 50-50 call.
yeah, yeah, that's true. I would just play Odegaard because I think his X minutes are more secure. I think he'll
I
pretty
think
much
also,
play
yeah,
the game.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And also,
So I think
Mitoma has been playing very wide from the last
right.
two games. So maybe a tactical shift and you don't play him.
Yep, yep, that's true. Another very similar question. So Kunal Yadav has Mitoma, Madison, Odegaard, KDB, Rashford, Kane, Haaland, and Nketiah. He wants to
Have
bench
to
one of
bench
them.
one between the time. That's a tough one. That's actually it. I would bench. I would bench
Again,
Madison.
Mitoma. Madison, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think Madison. And I have something like I think United at home are much elite defense in comparison to Fulham away from
Yeah.
home. That's the only logic behind this. And hopefully Kevin De Bruyne doesn't come on play any minutes. And I'm praying for that. I'm not praying actually for a Kevin De Bruyne haul. Just at the 0 minutes for him.
Yeah. I think I agree with the logic behind Madison, to be honest, but very close. But I think Madison is a fair shout purely because you expect United to be very, very secure at Old Trafford. Uh, Okay, a very similar question.
So
You,
yeah,
yeah, go on.
let's
Who
just take
should,
up questions quickly. Quickly, I think we
yeah,
have only 10 minutes left. Make your
10 minutes
transfers
more.
and captaincy. Set your team. Saurav is asking Ferguson, Andreas, Trippier start one.
Andreas.
Andreas for the high upside. If you had to
Yeah,
be safe,
yeah,
Trippier, in my opinion. First bench option, I think Bueno, Botman, Nonto. I think Nonto is first in my
non
opinion. Will Grealish start? We've discussed this. I think we expect Grealish to be benched this game week, right?
yeah, yeah. I think uh, if you somehow have Grealish for some reason, I think you just play him, and I don't really expect him to come on if he does not start. If he comes on, you get like 30, 35 minutes against NFO, a tired defense. But yeah, I'm not expecting him to start, nor is Anshuman, to be honest. I think this is the Phil
Okay,
Foden team.
so
He plays left wing.
yeah, you can take up questions. I'm trying to find some Arsenal news. So there is a lot going on Twitter in terms of league
Yeah,
lineups. I'm just reading out there in case there's something. Let's just keep answering questions till then.
yep. We have a
Tarkowski, a good
question.
asset. We've discussed. Yes.
Yep. Also, very specific question: Akanji, Fabian Schär, or Martinelli bench one? I think you bench Fabian Schär because Trippier,
Fabian
yes, he
Schär
could
out of
offer
them. Yes.
something more, but yeah, Fabian Schär he has to score a long ranger if he has to get something out. So I think play the fixtures, bench Fabian Schär if you're really looking to bench one of these three. Is Tarkowski a good asset? Yes, he's a good asset. Not a great asset, obviously, but he has a double game week coming up. You could do worse. So yeah, I think it's not a bad shout. Any Wolves players is the question. Not sure. Obviously, there were again, the double game week factor, but often we sort of get sucked into it where you don't really want to get a player from Wolves just because they have a double game week, and I don't think there are standout options from that team. So if you have Bueno already, fair enough. Kilman, I think, could be a shout, but again, it's not something that you should plan to. Yeah, I think your focus should be elsewhere, or maybe a Liverpool player, or Felix, or someone else. Start
Yep. So
Trippier
I
or
read
Martinelli.
through all of the Arsenal potential news. So it's all up in the air. There are two rumors that are going around. One is that NKT is benched and Trossard is coming in. The second is Martin Lee benched and Trossard coming in. Absolute no idea. I think Martinelli still is at the sake of probably getting off. So I think sell him.
Yeah.
I think yeah, wouldn't bench either Odegaard or Nketiah or between the two. Martinelli again is subject to your decision making at the end.
Yeah, yeah. I
What
mean,
to do
we
with
don't
Mitrovic?
really
I
know
think play
what's.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We have
Start
about
Mitrovic.
10 minutes away from the deadline stream, guys. If you've been answering your questions, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I know it's in
Subscribe,
between, but it's
share.
essential to push our
Yeah.
content. We're doing a hard job here.
Okay. Wow. I
Okay,
think this
Sam,
was
guys,
very
we'll
specific. Go on, Achal.
Yeah, Sam guy, I think he's been spamming a bit. I'll answer that. He's been sending his team. Kepa, Tarkowski, Shaw, Trippier, Saka, Kevin De Bruyne, Rashford, Mito, Haaland, and Nketiah, all of that. Bench one out of Andreas White, Patterson. I think bench White. Correct starting 11, I think yes. And there's a follow-up question by Aditya Jaram as well. Rashford, Saka, or for vice captain, I think Saka is a safer one. He's on penalties as well, so that could sway in your in your way as well. Saka, Odegaard, Mitoma, Rashford, Almiron, bench one, Almiron, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start Nketiah or Mitrovic. Nketiah. You got to start him. He is the main forward for Arsenal. I don't.
Yeah.
I know there are news, but again, you got to start him.
Yeah. A very specific question that's coming a lot of times. What is the best wildcard? It's going to be very random, but we're getting this a lot. Wildcard week. What is the
Uh,
best wildcard week on the top of your head?
this game week, I think don't wildcard. Don't wildcard. Wildcard week is probably 29 or 33.
Yeah. And we'll cover it in detail in the future game weeks. Right now, it's
Yeah, yeah.
definitely
Don't
not the
worry. We're
time,
doing a
especially.
detailed stream next
Yeah.
week for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, another question kept. So there's an entire starting 11 posted from Shazay Iqbal, one free transfer. So he's got Kepa, Shaw, Trippier, Saliba, Saka, Rashford, KDB, Mahrez, Haaland, and Nketiah, Tony. One free transfer. Would you make any changes?
One free transfers. Do you make any changes? I think with the team you have,
I think the
I
team is
wouldn't.
good.
I think
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Team
Just
looks
save
good.
it. You'll need it in 25. You can assess it. I think it's a good
Yeah,
team. Just captain
save it.
Haaland. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Antonio. So yeah, a
Ubi
very
has sent
specific
in a
question for you,
specific
Anshuman.
question to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Akanji, because I expect him to guarantee start, this looks like a clean sheet fixture to me. White could concede. So, again, I don't want to risk that.
Okay, bring in Tarkowski for a minus 8 this game week, or Salah plus Tarkowski for a -1x. Yeah, definitely not a -8, especially for Tarkowski. Don't do it this week or any week for that matter. just hold it out and assess it, next week. I think with Salah, maybe a -4 is viable, but not for a -8 this week. No. Uh, should I transfer out Mitro, White, or Akanji? Would you take any of these three players out this week?
No, I think save a transfer. Don't rush into your transfer this week because your transfers are more essential next game week.
Yeah. Okay, a lot of similar questions again. Would you start Martinelli, Almiron, White? Just pick one of these. I think who would be your pick out of these three?
Almiron out. If I had to start someone, Bite, because I know he's starting for sure. I don't know about Martinelli. Almiron again, he has a tough fixture, so simply that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Uh,
still find news if I can get some accurate news about the Arsenal team before like the deadline. Hence, I'm looking down in my phone, guys.
yeah. Question: would you sell KDB for Mahrez? No, please don't. Hold on to KDB for this week.
Yeah,
If you want to sell him at all, I think he's a good move. You take him out for Salah next week. Definitely not for Mahrez. I think KDB is a firm hold. Would you start Estupinian or Tarkowski? Wow. Uh, I think it's a very 50-50
I
sort
think
of a call.
Estupinian.
Yeah, yeah, probably,
He's
yeah,
been more
because
attacking. I've seen him
more
play
attacking.
much more attacking than before, and he's been very unlucky with his return. So maybe him. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think this sort of has been the season we don't really see a lot of clean sheets. So this is why it's just purely come. But yeah, I think you go. One of the
Attacking
reasons
for
that
the
you see is
attacking
the
output.
attacking
Yeah, yeah.
return. Yeah, yeah, yeah. True. Best buy this week. If you have to suggest someone to buy one player, one transfer target for
Felix.
this week, Anshuman, who
Felix.
would it be?
Felix.
Felix. Okay.
Hands down,
Let's
Felix.
let's
If you've
let's
not understood by the stream right now, I think it's
yeah.
Joao Felix, guys.
Uh, okay, Felix, obviously among forwards. Would you have one transfer target among midfielders, one among defenders? Quickly.
Tarkowski in defense, midfielders. I think Madison slash Barnes. I like because they have you get a long term asset.
Yeah,
Unless you don't have the Arsenal, if you don't have Saka or Odegaard, prioritize them. Again, if you have them, go to the lesser players.
yeah. Would you also consider any of these players a long-term differential? Because that is another question. Any long-term differential that you would recommend for the long run?
At this point, nobody. Don't go differential. I think it's crucial to stick to the template at this point. This template is very near to breaking out in 26-27. So I think stick as much as you can.
Yeah.
Play
Would you
Almiron
get
Trippier is a question. I think play Trippier. Let's just address it. He's mentioned it a couple of times.
yeah, yeah. A question about Zinchenko. Do you think he's a good option for Arsenal if you're looking for an Arsenal defender? Or would you just stick to
I think
Gabriel?
he's fine. I think Gabriel is better because he's been more attacking direct. I think more direct in terms of attacking. Sell Mitro and Ketia for Felix. I think Mitrovic to Felix can happen this week, and Ketia probably not. Sell Mitrovic, Fight or Akanji this week. Hold three unless Mitro to Felix is probably a move. I wouldn't move. I wouldn't necessarily push myself to sell him. Why is there
Yeah.
no reliable medium price striker right now? It seems both Tony Mitrovic are inconsistent. Felix has small sample size, but that's about the game. I think that is why you can switch to a midfield five once the blank game weeks happen.
Yeah. And funds are not really an issue this season, right? There are just a lot of great options available. You can play around. If you're looking to make a move immediately this week, I think you should hold on. Maybe you have two free transfers next week and assess. Should I do Mitrovic to Felix? Oh, we've covered this question a lot. Maybe.
No, if you can save,
Mhm.
save.
Yeah.
Unless you want to push it like me, I had two free transfers, hence I'm making the sideways move. It's always better. So if you still want to do the same move next week, I think reassessing a player is much better again. And things could change. So you never know. Fulham could have a fixture in 28, and now then you can save. You can use your free transfer somewhere else. It's better
Yeah.
to
It's a
just
very,
save.
very team specific question, right?
Yeah, it
Something
depends on
whether
your
Felix is a
punting
good shout.
capacity. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A bench Saliba for Andreas. Wow. Would you do it?
I would do it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very torn on that. Another bench question, something that we've covered a lot. Trippier, White, Akanji, Shaw, bench one. I think we've covered this so many times now, but yeah, who would
we
you
we
bench?
split on this. I think
Mhm.
Z says bench Trippier. I would say bench White. And again, a question about that as well. Play Mitrovic or Tarkowski. I think play Mitrovic. Hope he starts. If he doesn't, I don't think he'll play at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Is Felix
Uh,
the only player you're bringing in, or you made any other moves? I'm bringing only Felix, and I think I'm going to stick to that. No other moves. I thought about it, but I think it's better to save the transfer.
Next question about the best Brighton player. If you were to just bring in, who would be your pick? Especially because McAllister has now been rumored to play that 10 role. Do you think he's a better pick than March or
Yeah,
Mitoma?
100%, hands down, hands down. He's just too attacking, and he's on penalties, guys. People miss out the fact just because Marsh and Mitoma got the points recently, but McAllister will be on pens, and it's crucial.
Very quickly, just 1 minute to go, guys. If you have any more specific questions, just put them in here. Uh, we try to answer
Yep.
them before the deadline. Vice
I
captain
think I'm
Rashford
set my
or
team.
Odegaard?
Set your team. I'm going.
Yeah, set
I'm
your
going
team. More
Felix.
importantly. Yep. That's
Yeah,
true.
but that's about it. Vice captain Felix, captain Holland. Guys, make sure you hit the like button before you drop off the stream. I think there are about 30 seconds, odd seconds, and you should set your captain and vice captain. You should also set your vice captain and captain.
Yep. I have. I think it's on Rashford. I'm expecting him to. I know you got me a bit paranoid about
Girish,
Rashford's
I
health.
think just answer. Let's just answer it between.
Yep.
Should I start Martinelli and Nketiah both? I think if you don't have a better option than Martinelli, start both.
Yep.
Nketiah for sure. I think yeah, start both.
Yep. For sure.
Yeah, go on. I think I got you paranoid on Rashford not starting. It's just my
Yeah.
opinion, mate. And I
Yeah.
think that
But
could be true. I'm not. I'm not
it
gloating
could
about it
happen.
as
But
of
I'm
now.
I'm just keeping my vice captain on him still.
Yeah,
And on that note, the lineup, the deadline's
it's
gone,
deadline.
and we are hearing that Bruno is benched. So yeah, if you heard our stream, we answered a lot of questions, asked you to bench Bruno because of his minutes risk,
Wait, how do
and
you
it
have
looks like he's
Bueno
benched.
news? How does anyone have Bueno news? It's an 8:30 kickoff in India. I really think
So
it's not
Eric
legitimate.
has said that Bruno is benched, so the credit goes to him. Thank you so much for bringing. It was just a joke. If any of you watching the stream, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But
you
yeah,
got me scared because Bueno would have been a good pick there.
yeah. But yeah, like we always say, minutes is something that we consider, first and foremost. So,
First priority, I think. Yeah.
and yep, I think that's it. We've answered a lot of questions. Okay, Anshuman, anything to add?
We've answered a lot of questions. I think it was fun. It will be very interesting to see if Martinelli starts or is it Trossard up top with Martinelli or is it Nketiah, because that changes a lot of dynamics and talking points in terms of game week 25 where Arsenal double, game week 28 where Arsenal have a fixture, because till now we're thinking the top three assets are Saka, then followed by Nketiah, and then followed by Odegaard. Jesus is still not in the picture; he's way away from fitness. But now, if there's a mix in Trossard has put in, and he's put in instead of Martinelli, in place of Nketiah instead of Martinelli, I think it changes the dynamics totally, and it will be really interesting to watch what happens in the next half an hour.
Yeah, that's true. Not just this week. I think even going forward, once Jesus is back in the picture, it's going to be very chaotic, which makes me think that Saka and Odegaard could be the two Arsenal picks to go for purely because they are the most secure in terms of uh, in terms of minutes. So yeah.
Yeah. So Eric saying he just wanted a reaction. You got my reaction for sure because I would have played him if I knew he was starting. Anyways, yeah, that's about it. I think, guys, if you like the stream, if you enjoyed the stream, please hit the like button. If you answered your question or any part of your dilemma, please hit the like button. And if you're new, please subscribe to the channel. We make a lot of content every week and a lot of good content as well. We try to keep it short. Sometimes we do the streams. So yeah, you'll be notified as soon as we put something out. So yeah, subscribe to the channel as well.
Yes, please do. And yeah, it was lovely chatting and answering all your questions. And we will be back next game week with another episode. Until then, it's
Yeah,
goodbye.
yeah. This is FPT signing off with Z. Cheers.